Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal giving you my thoughts, analysis, and rant. So finally, back to this segment here in the Mr. Informal channel. Finally giving you my thoughts, analysis, and rant. And I think this is a good one. I'm giving you my thoughts, analysis, and rant of the Nikon ZFC, an APS-C compact mirrorless interchangeable camera by Nikon. And the design is inspired by their vintage style retro cameras with the analog controls on the top, but certainly this one is all digital, and it comes with fully articulated back screen. And so let me give you my thoughts right now. I like this camera a lot, and the price that comes with the 28mm f2.8, I think around there, is with the camera is only $1,200. Not only that, it has videos capability. There's no IBIS, certainly there's no body image stabilization, but nonetheless, Nikon may have a winner here because the looks is quite attractive, but will come in different colors, certainly. But in terms of pricing, the price is just about right, very reasonable, very attractive. Have the manual controls, got the shutter speeds. Certainly, I wouldn't be surprised based on what I'm seeing. It comes with the ISO dial itself too, which is pretty cool. Even have a f aperture screen. But certainly, just to conclude my thoughts, Nikon may finally have a winner here compared to their other previous announced camera, previous announcement, whatever you want to call it. Not only that, this is for the masses, so they will probably sell a lot of these, but I will get to that when it comes to the analysis. So first and foremost, certainly let's get to the specs, because based on the specs here, again, it's $960 for the body only. These US dollars, $10.99 for the 16 and 50mm kit lens, and $1,200 with a 28mm lens made of magnesium alloy, 21 megapixels, APS-C. Not only that, it will come with an XP 6 processor. Max ISO is 204 and 800,000 ISO. I know I probably mispronounced that. I'm forgetting my numbers right now. Certainly it comes with SD card. You can shoot RAW and JPEG. It has contract and phase detect. Not only that, it also have eye detect and also face detect, which is pretty cool. The lens mount is Nikon Z, certainly fully articulated screen. 3-inch is the size, 1 million dots of resolution. Not only that, it has EVF, no flash, no integrated flash. The EVF is 2.3 million dots, and the modes are program, aperture priority, shutter, and manual. And then it can shoot 11 frames per second, which is quite reasonable at the price range. Certainly it could do better, but I know that Nikon doesn't want to cannibalize their other bodies out there. It can shoot videos up to 4K at 30 frames per second, 25 and 24. 1080 is 120, 100 frames per second, 60, 50, 30, 25, and 24 frames per second. It will come with a microphone port, which is pretty cool, USB 3.2, which can also be charged and be plugged in at your computer as a webcam while it's charging at the same time, which is pretty cool. It has micro HDMI, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi inside, and then it can shoot up to 300 shots per battery. which is pretty cool. So those are the specs. Now let's get to the analysis. Now, when Nikon usually make camera announcement, as you know, I don't really like what they come out of, because it's a dinosaur mindset that they always come out with. But in this case, this is quite different. Not fully different, but just a little bit different, just to add a little bit of uniqueness to it. For one, it is attractive. Number two, it has analog controls, meaning it has the dials for quick settings to get the shot that you need quickly instead of having to go to the menu. And so what does that mean? Well, I actually think the market will react to this camera very well, and that's what it's looking like. Not just for enthusiasts, not just for pros, but actually for beginners out there. Because when you have dials that is already in front of you, you can quickly change settings, which is absolutely pretty cool, which makes this camera a great beginning camera. Not only that, the lens that will come with the 28mm can also be put on a full frame Nikon camera, which if you buy this and you want to learn more photography and you want to get to full frame, well, you can just transition easily to Nikon, which is a pretty great idea. Not only that, cameras has been stagnant for a while now. It seems like Sony compact cameras like the ZV-1, the other Z camera, I forgot what it is, but you all know what it is. It's on Mark 7 now. It's been the camera that a lot of people have used for blogging now. Not only that, Nikon sales haven't really been gaining. So with this camera, Nikon is hoping that they could actually make sales or actually get a little bit more market share. And I do think that this camera will certainly do that. Not only that, their stocks, well, we'll see what their stock says, because just because one camera is making sales doesn't mean it's going to move stock. We'll see, but certainly the market is excited for this type of camera. Now, before I get to my rant, let me give you my pluses, okay? Because I really like this camera. It has a f-aperture LCD screen next to the shutter button, which is pretty cool. What's not cool is that, you know, if your camera's off, you won't see it, so you can only see what aperture you are when the camera's on. But nonetheless, that's only a minor thing. Not only that, I like the quick settings, very Fuji-like, ISO, and even the shutter speed right away. And this is just one of those cameras that is probably very easy to shoot with. Not only that, let's not forget that it's attractive looks and it's attractive price at $960. Now let's get into my rant. Number one, that first and foremost, there is no body image stabilization. I'm not happy about that. If Fuji can do it, why not you, Nikon? I don't understand. Is it that hard? Not only that, this camera is not small. This camera is actually quite big. I mean, not compared to the full frame versions of Nikon, but certainly this camera is quite big, so they probably had enough space to put a IBIS. No joystick on the back, and say we get stuck with the D-pad. Joystick would have been better just for easy control. There's no integrated flash. Certainly, I still think that they could have included integrated flash. I know Fuji can do it. Again, I'm comparing this to Fuji because I think that this is what will compete against Fuji because it's APS-C. Not only that, the camera, the lenses are going to be big for this, but that's quite a preference. But certainly, let's not forget this is still a APS-C camera. Last but not least, I really want to make sure there is no headphone jack. There is a microphone port. there's no way that you can even use an adapter to get a headphone jack to be used, such as the way Fuji does it. But hey, it is what it is. Those are basically my rant. I don't. My biggest rant would probably be the no image stabilization. There's a microphone port. It can shoot 4K. There's no image stabilization. It has a fully articulated screen. It can shoot 11 frames per second. It's APS-C. If you buy the lens, you can also transition. You can also use it for Nikon full frame cameras, and so it has a lot of good. I shouldn't say good, but great things going for it. And it's less than $1,000 just for the body itself. Are you serious? This is a well capable camera. It's a travel camera. It sounds like I'm actually praising this camera before I even touch it, but based on the specs, it's looking good so far. So let's get into my conclusion. So finally, Nikon has released something that I could be excited about, that you should be excited about, especially if you're just getting into photography or learning about the photography, because based on the controls, this looks quite easy. It may look intimidating at first, but once you know how to operate the way you want a camera to be, the way you want it shoot to be, it's very easy. Everything is basically in front of you. Not only that, even if it has an aperture screen to know what aperture you are instead of looking at the screen. And the body looks great. You can shoot 4K. It has a microphone port. It has a fully articulated screen for under $1,000 just for the body. Is looking great. Now, it's certainly going to be released later this year. But at the same time, it's going to compete with Fuji, so we'll see what Fuji will come out with. But this camera is looking great. Now, if you are not tied into any camera system at all, you might have to look into this camera and do further research. I think if you are going to be looking for a hybrid camera, certainly you're going to miss a lot of IBIS with this. But if you're more a shooter, picture shooter, certainly this will go for you. But certainly there's a lot to like about this camera, and there's less to rant about it. And it's certainly quite a camera for the masses that Nikon has announced. And so that basically concludes this thoughts, analysis, and rant of the Nikon ZFC. I can't believe I'm praising this camera without even looking at it. But you know what? I'll have to check it out in the future. And so that is basically it. I will see you in the next thoughts, analysis, and rant. This is Mr. Informal. Bye-bye.